What up, brothers? It's Clip King returning for another new review tonight on the figures you see in front of you. And as you can see, it's the Star Wars Stormtroopers by Hot Toys. They've been kindly lent to me by a guy in the Facebook community, and a subscriber of mine on YouTube goes by the name of Carl Young. Massive shout out to him for even lending me these. I know the value of these figures. He just sent me a message on Facebook the other day. Rick, I've just bought the Star Wars Stormtroopers, and before I have them shipped, I was just wondering, would you like to review them and then ship them on to me? I said, well, if you don't mind, I don't mind. They are figures I'm interested in, and yeah, it'd give me a massive buzz and also a good boost from my channel to be able to see these figures. So he made the arrangements. He was good as his word. They arrived today, and I'm buzzing to get to review them. So yeah, massive thanks to Carl. Big shout out to him. I am going to review them as a complete set because I think that's the fairest way to do it. So obviously when I score the value, I'm taking into account the price. Obviously that would bring you the two complete figures and the accessories that it does bring. So bear that in mind. I'm not going to do a review on the left hand side one and a review on the right hand side one. There's no point. I'm just going to do them as a complete set. So we'll get the score on if you were to buy this set from Hot Toys. So yeah, I think that's probably the fairest way to do it. So I'm going to get straight in and talk source material. I reviewed the Shadow Trooper a while back, if you remember, and I compared it to the Medicom. I can't compare these figures straight to the Shadow Trooper because it wasn't my Trooper, so obviously it's been sent back now. So I can't compare it side by side, but obviously I will refer back to what I liked about that or what I prefer about these. So I will mention it, and if you haven't seen the Shadow Trooper, please have a look at that. So, source material. I think if I was scoring just Star Wars as a license, it would be so easy to give it a 5. They are pretty much high up in popular culture. Everybody knows them from the age of like 60, 70, 80, right down to young kids, even younger than mine. I think most of the characters, particularly from the original trilogy, are really iconic. There's nobody who doesn't know who Darth Vader is, or a Stormtrooper, or Luke Skywalker, Yoda. That is how it is in popular culture. So if I were scoring it strictly on that, then it would get an easy 5. But what I've tried to do is, because I think this license is going to go on and on and on, I've got to sort of come up with a way where I can say, well, this character is more important, or this figure is more important than this one for this reason. So I think the easiest way I can do it is sort of within the license say how highly I rank each particular character. Now, I said before on the Shadow Trooper, the Shadow Trooper never appeared in Star Wars to my knowledge. It might have been on, but I missed it, but I can't ever remember seeing it, so I scored it really low on the source material. Where these are more iconic, if you can't remember seeing a battalion of Stormtroopers, you've not watched the film correctly. They pretty much flank Darth Vader everywhere he goes, and like I said, they are pretty much the military in Star Wars, particularly the original trilogy. So I would obviously rank it higher than the Shadow Trooper, but someone like a key character like a Luke and Chewbacca, Obi-Wan, or someone like that, Yoda maybe, Darth Vader, they would be top ranking figures, whereas these probably not even secondary characters because they don't have much of a speaking role, they are just background. So, but on the strength of the license and sort of the fact that they are really iconic looking figures, I am still going to give them a 3 out of 5 for source material. Before we cut away, just show you each pose. Obviously got this, the taller one of the two with the longer rifle. Just in a pretty upright position because I just want to show them or represent out the box, not too much posing up, what you can get them to look like. So yeah, like I said, the source material got a 3 out of 5. Rolling on to the packaging, and I'll start off by saying it is just a shoebox design, and it is the similar dimensions to the Stealth Suit Captain America with the Steve Rogers twin pike, which is pretty obvious. It does bring 2 figures. The artwork is really nice. It's just a sort of charcoal background with a black sort of V down the middle, and then the twin Stormtroopers artwork central. Looks really nice. Nice shot. I think they are movie stills and not of the figure. I could be wrong because it is very accurate anyway. Moving down, the chrome style Star Wars lettering, and then moving down again you get your serial number and Stormtroopers. There isn't any artwork really on the sides or the back of the box, so I'm not going to bother, but I'm going to show you the inlay slip. Again, really nice shot, nice artwork, very well themed, let's say, with the black and white. Obviously fits the style of the Stormtrooper. So yeah, really do like the artwork. The box is a good quality card. Inside is 2 layers of plastic clam trays. Houses the figure really well, which you would expect. I really like it, really eye-catching. The size obviously makes it very imposing, and like I've said, the artwork looks very cool to me. So I'm going to, normally I would give a shoebox a 3, but on this I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Rolling on to the facial likeness. And before we start, just have a look at the pose. Pretty much gone for one guy in front of the other. So he would be the more senior member. He's like, halt. Other one got his rifle up, ready. If anybody pulls a fast move, he's just about to fire off a few blasts. Oh, yeah, looking nice. I will start off by saying I do believe that the helmet is just reproduced. Obviously, there is a size difference, but that is down to the, I think, the longer limbs, the longer legs, sorry, on the taller one, and it's only, it might even be down to the size of the ankle peg. I think all the armor parts are identical. Obviously, the helmet the same. So if we have a look around it, look at some detail, getting nice and close for you. It is undeniably a Stormtrooper. There's, I'm going to say there's not really anything you can do wrong, but I've seen companies do it wrong before. Get the proportions, the measurements, looks all wrong, looks a little bit awkward, or looks bobble-headed, doesn't look right. That's not the case with these. They do look very fresh. So like I said, straight out the uniform factory. Very clean, no battle marks, no blast marks on them. Yeah, unmistakably Stormtroopers. I think they've done a really good job. I did with the Shadow Trooper as well, but like I said earlier, I think the white with the black highlights is more iconic looking. Just move back so we get them both in shot. I think from every angle it is unmistakable. There's no, I looked and looked and thought, is the alt that don't look right to me, or alt that looks like they've done it wrong or whatever, and I couldn't pick anything. People who are more anal than me might be able to do that, but I personally can't. I just want to try and get in close, get some light in there, just to show you the breathing equipment, so the front of the mask. Show you've done really nice paintwork, really good detail. Yep, really, really good facial likeness. Like I said, it's not a face as such, it is an helmet, but I've got to work with what I've got. So on those, I can't mark it down because I can't think of a reason to. So I've got to give the likeness a 5 out of 5. Right, rolling on to the outfit. And as you can see, I've got this one pose sort of static with the twin pistols. And then I've got this one rotating with his standard blaster, just so we can have a good look around the outfit. I've already spoke about the helmet. I think it looks very accurate. Same can be said for the armour. It is a black fabric bodysuit, and it is kind of like a lycra material, so it doesn't hinder the articulation, and then each piece of the armour is a separate sculpted piece. It's very, very clean looking, like I said, and does look very accurate. Again, when I do a review, I always go check some pictures, some stills, see if there's any obvious glaring mistakes. I will say I don't go too much in depth into that, because I think that, I don't know, I think when you start measuring things out and the length of limbs and the markings on a uniform, I think you're getting a little bit too anal. But like I said, at a glance, they look very, very accurate. Looking at this one first, you see is a shoe section, and it is only the foot. So you see the brakes are in the foot down there. It is a shin guard. It is quite hard plastic, this as well, but it does move about nicely when you position it. It sort of pushes out of the way because of the limb underneath. The thigh section, which is just sort of floating on the leg, held in place by the lower part of the armour. Moving up to a pelvis section. The belt, which I will show in a minute, is removable. The two little flaps here, what on the Shadow Trooper you attached is armour. It's sort of armour pouch. Sorry, not armour, ammunition pouch. This one doesn't have it. Moving up, like I said, the belt's removable. It has an ab section underlaying the sculpted chest. Moving up, the floating shoulder pads, upper arm section, and then the forearm section. The hands swap on and off like standard hands, and the padding is attached to the hand underneath. Looking at this one now as it rotates, give you a better feel. As you see, the upper arm there will push up when you articulate it. The cylinder does attach to the back of the belt, as you can see, as it comes round. When you move it around, all the pieces sort of push out of the way, so you see there the divide between the shin guard and the foot section. So he has his blaster pouch on the back, which works really nicely. It does have a magnetised button, so if I show you on the back of this one, you see his blaster is in the pouch, and so the cylinder just clicks on over the top of the belt. So yeah, looks really accurate, very, very functional. Not the most intricate thing you're ever going to see. And again, like I said, it is just the same armour reproduced. So they're trying to make it look like it's two different figures because one's slightly taller than the other. I don't know, I don't think that's the case. I think the armour is just reproduced, which is obvious. It would be in the film, so it's going to be in this. It looks good and it works good, so you'd think I'd get top scores. I'm going to mark it down, and this is for the reason. When I did the Shadow Predator, it had attachments that this one, I keep saying Shadow Predator, the Shadow Trooper, it had attachments that this one doesn't have. So again, it had the ammunition pouch that went on there, one on there, and then the padded shoulder section, if you remember. I think they could have given you a set of those with these, so you would have options. I displayed them, they could be identical or they could be slightly different. They didn't give that, so the fact that I've seen a very similar figure done better makes me bring the score down. So on the outfits, I'm only going to give them a 3 out of 5. Rolling on to articulation, and there's not really a great deal I can say here. It is pretty much just a true type body underneath the armoured sections, covered in a lycra style bodysuit. The articulation is hindered very, very little, so a little bit of restriction on the side to side movement on the helmet, because the helmet the front section of the helmet sort of clashes with the shoulder pads a little bit. The body moves nicely, the arms move nice and tight, same with the legs. The ankles a little bit, but nothing major. Show you. So there's nothing really. They weren't a pose I tried to get it to, and I thought it's not going to do that because the armour's clashing. This might look a funny pose because of how I've got them, but I've pretty much gone for Luke doing the force push and just sending these two little bitches flying. And I think that looks beautiful, and if another reviewer does you that, come back and tell me, I'm going to fucking sue him, because that is copyrighted by Uncle Clipper. So bear in mind that if you're going to throw that sort of pose into your review, don't do it. Or think twice before you do, because I've got the best team of lawyers and fucking money can buy. Anyway, on the articulation, slight hindrance in a couple of places, but nothing that really pisses me off. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Rolling on to extras and then into value. So as you see, I've got them both stood up. The biggest of the extras they bring are the matching diorama bases. As you can see, it does have the name plaque on the front. Looks quite nice. And I will say the connector at the bottom of the stand will clip into any section of that, so it doesn't have to be central. Although I've used it centrally, it will clip in, so if you want one off to one side of his stand and off to other side of his stand, you can do that. It will fit into any section. There's not a designated space for it to click into. It will go between the ridges anywhere on that stand, so I do like that. Moving down, you get the instruction manual, you get the cartridge, as I've shown, that goes on the back of each belt. They both bring that. Moving down, you get a set of hand pegs, a relaxed left hand, a spread left hand, this is for both figures as well, relaxed left and right, trigger left and right, and a fisted left and right. They then have the small pistol style blaster, they have one of those each. The standard blaster with the fold out stock, really nice. There's a bit of detail on that. And on that. So they have one of those each. The large sort of machine gun style rifle with the sort of the stabilizer section. There's only one of those, so that's a shared piece. There is articulation on it, if you look here. This cock, obviously that all folds away and clicks onto this stem here. Really nice piece. Behind that you see the droid that you see on the Death Star most of the time. It does roll. It's got wheels on the bottom. Bit cheap feeling that, but I suppose a nice addition for your Star Wars display. So, yep. And then, like I said, moving across, another set of hands. So it looks like you're getting a lot of stuff. It is a little bit of a trick, to be honest, because you're getting replicated parts, so you're not really getting as much as you think you're getting. So the bases are a big take. The fact that you get a choice of weapons is a big take. You do get, I don't know, plenty of hands, 7 hands altogether per figure, and then obviously the canisters you do attach onto the back. I don't know, if it had been that amount of things but everything were different, then I would possibly have given it a 4, because obviously there's no interchangeable heads, which would have been out of the question. You would have wanted maybe a Anne and Luke's head, but you're not going to get that because Luke's already out and Anne's on his way. I don't think the neck from Luke will swap onto one of these, and I didn't want to try it because obviously these aren't my figure. So I can't really think of much more they would have wanted. But like I said, if the hands would have been all totally different, or I don't know, just something else, because all you're getting is like a double amount of things, if you get what I mean. So on the extras, I'm only going to give them a 3 out of 5. And that were mainly down to the base and the fact that you got a choice of guns to use. So yeah, like I said, I think that's more than fair, 3 out of 5. Moving on to value, I will say this. The twin set from Hong Kong to England was £280 on release, which is a lot of money in anybody's book. But if you obviously work it down to per figure, £140 each would be cheap from Hong Kong for an Hot Toys figure. The single version of the Stormtrooper is around £190 on its own, which I think is well overpriced for a third tier character. I wouldn't ever give that a good score value-wise. On this, I think you're getting quite a lot for your £280, but again, it's a little bit of a trick, because if they'd have given you Thor and Iron Man for 280 quid, you'd be like, oh, sound, I've got 2 Avengers, I'm buzzing. But you basically got the same figure twice here, so it's a nice offering, and people who want Stormtroopers are going to want more than one. But don't forget, these aren't the 3-inch figures off a Rotherham market at 50p each. It's £280 for 2 Stormtroopers. And like I said in the Shadow Trooper, they're pretty much a backdrop to your Vader. That's all they are when you think about it. So do you really want them at £280? I think the price is bang right for them, to be honest. But I can't class that as top value, because like I said, you're tricked into buying the same figure twice. I don't think it's as good value, for example, as the Captain America and Steve Rogers, because you've got 2 totally different displayed figures there. So I'm going to give the value a 4 out of 5. So to sum that up, it's 26 out of a possible 35, which is a really, really respectable score. I would promote this version over the black version, in all honesty. I wouldn't buy the single version of this because I think it's well overpriced. If you're going to get one, you might as well get 2, because you're actually buying one, getting one half price, if you think about it like that. So I think if you are a Star Wars buff, then I can understand it totally, but it wouldn't be for me. Yep, so 26 out of 35. Thanks to Carl for letting me see these figures. Obviously, I've done now. I'll package them straight back up. They'll be in post for you tomorrow, brother. They're completely undamaged, mint condition still, and they are on the way back. So for now, this is a clip of King Brothers, and I'm out of here.